Pasha Paroh, Y7. Thank you for tuning. You know, I get feedback. I get feedback all the time. I get feedback from people that actually are grateful. I get feedback from people that hate you. You know what I'm saying? I know you know the deal. So I always got stuff I could tell you, but I think today what I wanted to talk about was, with it being Sunday, for those that keep track of the days of the week, and coming up on the corporate fiction holiday, etc. It kind of just made me think about how, you know, the other day, right? You saw me say the other day, like, you can help someone out, and everybody don't always understand things at the same level at the same time. So you may actually take time, put in work, help a person out, and then when they finally dawn on them that you were right, and you took your time and you helped them out, you know, instead of saying thank you, we got people out there that'll gaslight you and still want to talk shit and say how you just want yes men around you to just say yes to everything you say. And I put the little gift meme up that just said hang up on that person at that time, because they don't respect you because they're too busy comparing you to everyone else. Now what we're gonna get into today is some shit out of this book and how I used it to help people, and why some people may feel a certain about me, and you could probably relate to this too, because if you share this same passion, you got people that's gonna feel the same way about you, talk the same shit about you, etc., etc., etc. And instead of awakening to what really makes you great, they're always trying to say how, you know, anybody could do it, but ain't nobody ever done it for them before. You know what I'm saying? So that they have a false pretense on reality, and that's just another part of mental health awareness and emotional intelligence, because whatever they hate inside themselves, they're gonna hate you for being able to do what you do. So before we get started, I want to start by showing you this book. Okay? It's a great book to have in your library. Like in your library. Well, first of all, it's a great thing to have a library of your own. And secondly, once you start doing that, this is a great book to have in your library. So I just like to know. You know what I mean? I when I look back on my life, like I've always had this passion of wanting to know instead of believing, you know, just believing. Because believe means not to know. You know, we already covered that here on the Y7 channel. So let me get this set up here real quick. And bam, there we go. Okay, cool. Excuse me. All right. So I'm a fan of knowing, and some people are a fan of not knowing, which is to believe and think they know and trust everybody else and all this stuff, blah, 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 whatever it is for them, right? So I'll tell you, I got this book. This is actually my second copy of it, because I gave my first copy to the first major success I had with it. I gave it to them, like helping others. I actually gave it to them so they would have a copy of it to help them. And you know, it dawned on me that the people that you're helping, you know, when you're in the middle of helping them and they're all excited and they can't wait to see you the next time because they want to get more help, right? Those are the same people that's gonna say, fuck you, turn their back on you, talk shit about you, as soon as you tell them something that they don't want to hear, right? And what the disconnect is they don't grasp. I know there's people out there that's bullshit. I know there's people out there that get lucky. Like, okay, you were right this time, but you've been wrong the last 150 times. Why should I trust you the next time? Let's play it by ear. But if you come consecutively, time after time after time after time after time after time after time with the truth, at what point does the person receiving that from you say, you know what, this motherfucker, what is it about them that allows them to do this? And it's not to say it's something that everybody's capable of this, okay? It's just, what are your priorities? All right? You know, I spent 13 years in the club, 3 to 5 nights a week. I'm not missing nothing because you don't see me in the club this week. I spent 13 years, 3 to 5 nights a week in the club. The only difference was I was getting paid to be there. See, I don't really, I struggle going somewhere and not getting paid. So I don't really be trying to leave too much. You know what I mean? So when you don't see me, I'm putting in a lot of work so that I can help people. That's why you don't see me. Because what's more important to me than being seen is being able to add value. Right? So I do a lot of research all the time. I go down 100 different rabbit holes a month thoroughly. And this is how come I'm able to do this. So when you have people that's not what they do, or they spend their life playing, right? And I'm not saying, you know, when I was a teenager, we used to ride our bikes and want to go places and do things when I was a kid, right? But you know, if that's all they still doing now in life, then they may assume that you live your life the same way. And, you know, how could you possibly know what you're talking about? But my thing is, what I want you to consider about these people is, how many times do you show them that you are actually different before you just say, you know what, the world wish to be deceived, let them be, right? Ignorance of the law is no excuse. So that's why you see me with short patience. Okay? With short patience. With a low tolerance for bullshit. Because I've seen a lot, and I've helped a lot of people to know that it's a sickness. They're sick. They're sick and they don't know they're sick. And I'm just trying to do my part to help people heal. Okay? So, and what I mean by that is, if you, like I said, if you got someone that's coming to you time after time telling you this is the truth, and you verify, you find, damn, this motherfucker right again. This motherfucker right again. Damn, this motherfucker saved my life. For real, for real. How you gonna try and talk shit about them, turn your back on them, hate them the next time because they say something that you just didn't want to hear that time? Because that meant you might have to change something you don't want to change, or do something you didn't actually want to do, but when you were facing death, you were ready to do anything, whatever it took. So you tried that shit. And it worked. And then you realize that everything even if that was your awakening, like, damn, everything he did say or everything she did say is right. What did she do? What does he do? Well, chances are they put in a lot of work that you didn't. That you were ready to go pay someone with letters behind their name thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars through insurance companies and stuff. Or through the college to tell you the same thing. But see, when you pay for it, when that person pays for it, they be in there taking notes, trying to stay late after class. Hey, can you get me some more help? But then they telling you they tired of listening to you in 5 minutes because you giving it to them for free. Because you really just want to help people, not profit off of them, not profit off their sickness, not profit off their illness. That's called taking that's taking advantage of someone by definition. I mean, my definition. I'll even be not kind enough to say that's my definition. If you know that person's ill or sick and their life depending upon it and you capitalizing off that shit, what is that? I give it to you for free because I want you to be empowered. I do all this research for the community just so they can talk shit about me afterwards. Why? Because it's not about them. It's about helping the next person that comes along. I'll have an even better understanding because I've already proven it in the field. So people don't understand, one, you was gonna help them for free. They could have just been honest with you and themselves, and you would have still done it for them. So even if they short you $50 or something, they didn't have to do that. It's the mental illness. It's the sickness. It's the fact that they don't believe that they self is whole or complete. So now they got to figure out a way to make sure you don't feel whole or complete. You would have done it for them anyway because you enjoy doing it. All right, let's get to the work. Okay, so here's the story, right? So I had a yeah, I can say this. I had a neighbor, okay, and they had cancer, and I found out they had cancer, and it was in various places. And it was doing this metastasizing or whatever that special word is. And, so I had the book. I be doing stuff for myself, right? And, you know how it is when you're doing stuff for yourself, but you don't got no real medical, shit. You're just trying to, like, get a couple more reps in when you do go to the gym or run a little further when you play, run a little longer when you play basketball, shit like that or something, right? You just building up yourself. So learning how to take better care of yourself. So I had an opportunity to go and say, you know what? Cool. Here's what we need to do. Okay. And I went to my book and I read this out. And this is actually the person I gave my first copy of the book to, because after we were done, I was like, here, I want you to have this book. I'll just order me another one, and that way you can protect you and your family, because apparently you didn't know this shit, right? So let's get to it. I got it on the screen there for you. I'm gonna read from the book. So cancer, if you and someone else recently, came to me and was talking about someone, and I was able to share this information with them with confidence because I've helped people in the past with this. And I'm going to tell you how this and helping someone with arthritis actually helped me with this last person. It's amazing. None of these people talk to me anymore. You say, but it helped me with this last person that had an iron issue. I'm going to cover all that, so just bear with me. I'm not a medical doctor. You can say this is for your entertainment purposes. It's out of the holistic health book that I showed you in the beginning there, and we're gonna go from there with it. So it says the word cancer means crab and or creeping sore, right? So cancer tissue and cells cover a broad spectrum of malignant, or they have bad neoplasms, new cells in parentheses. So there are over 100 types. Let me do it like this. There are over 100 types of bad cells, malignant neoplasm, classified as cancer. So each is believed to have a different cause. The cancer theory, belief, or best guess supports each cause. The types of cancer are carcinomas, which affect glands, skin, organs, and mucous membrane skin. Lymphomas, which affect lymph glands and fluid. Sarcomas, which affect bones, muscle, connective tissue, and leukemias, which affect the blood. Okay, so cancer cells are corpuscles. Cancer cells and corpuscles have an over 60% decrease in oxygen levels. The specific cell grow excessively, and corpuscles reproduce excessively. All right, so these cells and or corpuscle clusters, corpuscles. Okay, let me start that sentence over for you. You know what I mean? These are medical terminologies. Excuse me. So these cells and or corpuscles cluster together, and they have tumors in parentheses there, as well as travel through the body via the blood and lymph fluid. Cancer cells often travel to weak tissue and organs. For example, the actual cancer can be in the colon. The colon cancer cells can migrate or travel to the lungs. And let me get the next slide up here for you. All right. So an individual with cancer could be identified as having lung cancer when actually they have colon cancer cells in the lung tissue. All right. The major causes of cancer are the non-organic synthetic junk food diet, meats, eggs, dairy, synthetic toxic chemicals, undernutrition, physical, emotional, and spiritual stressors, radiations, polluted air, water, soil, vegetables, drugs, legal and illegal, and they say smoking marijuana and tobacco there, medical examination procedures, computers, diabetes, synthetic chemicals in buildings and homes, airplanes, obesity, etc. Basically, cancer can be caused by anything that harms the immunity, such as environmental factors and the diet. So I know it's like, Posh, why you be just getting rid of people? Why you be, you know what I mean? It's because stress kills, you know what I'm saying? And people, whether you realize this stress or not, like we did the video on the toxic workplace and how the American Disability Association is now considering that some large percentage of like heart attacks, diabetes, all that stuff is related to just people having a job and going to work for 20, 30 years. They're admitting that, but it's real quiet. They've been approving disabilities for post-traumatic stress disorder caused via toxic workplace for like 10 years now, real quietly. Okay, so let's continue here. There are social medical terms used to describe cancer that challenge your sanity. Benign cancer means a mild, kind, gentle, or non-threatening to health cancer. Calling cancer gentle and non-threatening does not stop it from being cancer. Cancer in remission means sleep, laid aside partly or wholly, sent back and not active, but resting cancer. If the cancer is resting, it does not stop from being a disease. Either you have cancer or you don't have cancer. If you have a car, cancer, and you park it, remission, or drive it mildly in any kind of fashion, benign, it's still a car, cancer. You know what I'm saying? So cancer is a disease that has become a profit-making industry. As an industry, it must expand the medical signs and symptoms of cancer as well as the definition of cancer. This expands the market share or amount of people to buy treatments. This industry also expands its arsenal of treatments such as drugs, research projects, chemotherapy, surgeries, which increase profits. Unfortunately, cancer is not a disease, but an industry. All right. So what I was able to do here, I'll jump forward to the details it gives you under arthritis, just to show you this example. Because in the book, it separates everything down that'll help you in this arena. So you can have a whole category of different supplements that you can take, and it tells you what the supplements are, the suggested doses, and what it does for you over on the right hand side. Then you can even go down, and in a lot of this stuff, it'll give you glandulars, amino acids, herbs, what kind of foods you should be eating to provide the same benefits, and homeopathic resolutions, if I pronounced that right. Okay, so let's get back to this real quick. All right. So what I was able to do was go in the book and pull supplements and ideas from the list and get them to start taking them. And one of the first things I did was, because when I was at the last position at 3M, I was actually a big part of what we called the Healthy Living Committee, and I used to do the research and do the Healthy Living monthly. I came up with this idea to have a Healthy Living monthly article release, and I also got like my whole job site. I got free water, free bottled water. I mean, we were getting pallets of water just brought in, and when it was gone, we would order a new pallet stacked like 4 feet high or something of water, and everybody could just have free water, because I wanted to make sure that the people was hydrated. I wanted to make sure they had access to water versus like sodas and stuff that you would find in a vending machine, so that, you know, they could be well. So I negotiated that for the whole site, which is three buildings, 2 production sites, and a warehouse, and I was able to get that done for our footprint. So when I released the Healthy Living monthly article on water to kind of roll out the benefit of having the access to free drinking water, you know, I did the research, and you find out that when you do the research, or as I was doing the research, you know, we got all these different type of waters like Fiji and Aquafina and this and that and the other, right? And you remember that when we learned about water in school, right? When we first learned about water in school, it said that it's odorless, colorless, and tasteless. But when you talk to people about why they like certain waters, they be like, yeah, I like the way this one tastes over that one. Well, we go back to what we originally learned before, you know, all this marketing and branding got put into our brains. That's what a lot of what people are suffering from. If you go back to the post I just had about groups are for sale. So marketing and branding is key, because now it got you sitting here telling, not you personally, but it's got people sitting here telling you they like the way this water tastes because it's got this kind of taste to it, but water ain't supposed to have no taste. So what are you doing? So anyway, what happens is there's this thing called organic, right? And what I found out when I was researching the water is that there's organic, or excuse me, there's minerals and stuff and vitamins in the dirt, in the soil right now. The reason why you're not going out there picking up a handful of dirt and eating it is because your body won't be able to process the contents. Apparently, when you study the word organic, it actually comes from organized, right? Organic comes from organized. And what they're getting at when you trace this back is that the minerals and stuff in the ground actually get organized or become organic through the process we call photosynthesis. So the photosynthesis organizes the minerals in such a way that by the time you eat the plants, or this is why there's a decay factor. If you eat the plants, you get this much. If you eat the animals that eat the plants, you get this much. And if you eat the animals that eat the animals that eat the plants, you get like a very little bit, because it's all coming back from the sun organizing the mineral content of the earth, and that's through the photosynthesis process. Now, why is that important? That's important because you got people talking about, I only drink spring water. I drink this water from the artesian aquifers out in, so underground cave, right? Where you got the rocks leaching the mineral content into the water, which is still inorganic. Okay? So what happens is the body can't process the inorganic, even though you think you're drinking special water. So when you drink this water, this is why you gotta piss so quick. Because think of it like a train. It's how I like to describe it to people. You got a long ass train with all these cars that's supposed to be empty, right? Like like the ones they dump the dirt in or something and carry the rocks or carry the soil or whatever, put something on it, whatever you want to, however you envision a train with its cars, it's supposed to be empty. When it's got this mineral content in it, either some portion of those cars or maybe sometimes all of the cars are already filled up with shit. So when it runs through your body and makes all the stops it's supposed to stop at to extract the toxins from your body, it can't do it efficiently, and the car, because it's already half full or full with the other minerals that it can't do nothing with. Your body can't do nothing with. So then it gets filled up quicker than normal and has to, go on and leave out of you, which is why you go piss. So that's the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that, see how I want to say it, it's like those inorganic materials that the body can't process, the body will take it from the cars of the train and it can't do nothing with it, so it'll start sticking it somewhere, kind of like what they're doing at the port right now, you know what I mean? So it'll just stick it somewhere, which is another way of saying it'll deposit the inorganic materials at different places in the body. So the reason why that was important, and that'll come back up when we get to arthritis, okay? But for example, when it makes those deposits in the joints, it's called, regular arthritis in the joints or whatever, right? When it makes those deposits in the muscles, it's called fibromyalgia or whatever, or also known as rheumatoid arthritis. Excuse me with these names, okay? You get the idea. So it'll deposit them into the muscle. So I had this thought process a long time ago, because we'll read this part of arthritis and I'll go over it with you. I was like, well, damn, if it's depositing in the muscle and it's this and the in between the joints and it's that, I said, I bet it's deposits in the brain of the same inorganic shit or type of shit that's causing Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, etc., etc., etc. And I kind of just stopped there because, for me, I was like, that makes sense. I'm good with that. And I hadn't really done any cross-referencing up until recently. But this is why you see me basically doing what I do on this channel all the time, because this is what I do in real life when you don't see me, when I'm talking to other people for real. I'm studying what I know. I put it into practice with people, and then I study more. And then from their issues and stuff, I can learn more from the environment and compound the shit and get even better, so that when the next person comes or the next situation comes up, I have an even better understanding, overstanding, understanding, whatever, triggers you to know what I'm saying. So what happened with this cancer was I was able to tell her, look, you need to start drinking distilled water. And that's, drink distilled water. Put all that other stuff away. Don't get that no more. Drink distilled water. And there's this thing called coenzyme Q10. And I was able to introduce her to coenzyme Q10. And a couple other things that she liked out of the book. She started making some teas. And then her cancer not only stopped growing, but it started shrinking. And the metastasis went away or whatever. And the actual source was shrinking. And she was basically on her way to being healed from cancer. Okay? She stopped doing the chemo and everything. That was a very, very powerful moment for me, because that was the biggest success story I had with the information in this book. and you know, stuff like that. When I look back on it, it's like, yeah, you know, you can do all this research, and like I said in the beginning, you can show people over and over again that you're not right because you lucky. You right because you put in the work. But as soon as you tell them something they don't want to hear about themselves, which is kind of making it all connect with the recent videos I've been doing on projection. You know, we know that when you tell them something they're not ready for at the first level of consciousness, and it takes their bliss away, we know they're going to attack you and blame you. And this is why I look at it as a sickness and an illness. So a lot of you out there, you got people attacking you, blaming you, talking shit about you, turning their back on you. Why? Simply because you helped them all the time, and then the 97th time you helped them, it was something that they didn't want to be helped with, and it made them see themselves in a mirror, and they were still in disbelief. They weren't ready to receive that help. They didn't want to change that part about them, so they had to attack you. You see what I mean? To hide themselves from themselves, and it's just a bad situation for the whole community. I'm just tired of when you're able to look at shit and you know the answer, and you gotta sit there, and even though you can talk to everybody and your hands aren't tied, you still gotta sit there and watch everybody suffer. I mean, how long do you do that before you just want to, like, it's not like you can go somewhere else and see something different. Everywhere you go, it's the same shit. How long do you sit there and keep watching people suffering before you're like, yo, like, if it was an animal, you would just put the animal down. You know, man, I'm killing Toto because I don't want Toto to suffer no more. And you know, you may never think that you would get to that point with a society, but when you're an empath, not only do you have to and do all this, you feel everybody's pain. You feel everybody's pain, even your own. All right, let's look at arthritis. All right, let's look at. I know you get what I'm saying. I ain't gonna keep. It's crazy. So when we look at arthritis, all right. So arthritis is a disease reaction and a symptom from a disease. It's an inflammation caused by crystallized toxic waste from a constipating diet and earth mineral deposits in the joint. The presence of arthritis can mean that the body is not dissolving and flushing out deposits of toxins or earth minerals. The waste deposits can collect in the tissues and muscles. The body immobilizes, stops any part of the body that needs repair. Okay? That's why, like, when you jam your finger playing basketball and the knuckles swell up or something, and you can't bend it all the way, it's because the body's saying, motherfucker, don't bend me, I'm trying to heal. So it did its best to make like its own little cast around it so you couldn't move it. And that's what the jam finger is. Like, don't move me, I'm trying to heal. And we be out there still trying to, you know, making it worse sometimes. So anyway, where we at here? So for example, a sprained wrist becomes stiff and strained muscles become stiff, called nature's cast. See? An injured part of the body remains sore and stiff until it is repaired. If repairs are not made, then the part of the body becomes permanently stiff, calcified, or immobilized. The crystallized waste in the joints and or tissue can rub against each other, causing inflammation. Arthritis is waste in the bones, in the bone joints, while rheumatism is waste in the muscles. So see, I was reading this early on, like I helped a lady with cancer, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, you know, and then you get to help other people here and there, and then someone comes to you with this, someone comes to you with Crohn's disease, someone comes to you with this, someone comes to you with arthritis, and I'd be like, hold on, when I get back home, I'm gonna text you the stuff in the book, you know what I mean, out my book. I'll send you the pictures. We can talk it over. Or I tell them what I know, and then as I keep helping people, I'm able to like remember this shit off the top of my head. You know what I mean? I build memory that way. So, and then I'll talk to them about it, and then I'll tell them when I get back, I'll send you the the shit so you can see it for yourself and you can have the list of what you need that can help you, because I don't have all of that memorized yet. But I do know, I this is how I learn. So, and that's what I was showing you earlier. So now for arthritis, for example, well, if we go back to that one, it gives you under supplements, vitamin C with bioflavonoids, and it tells you, what to take. And the dosages may seem a little high in some cases because you need the amount that your body needs to normally operate like during the day, and then you got to put that extra on top of that so they can do the repairs, you know what I'm saying? So, and it tells you what it does and why that part's important. And like I showed you earlier, I'll run through this again real quick and then we'll move on. So it gives you a whole list of supplements and tells you what it does and why it's important, what you can use it for, and you make your own choice with this, own decisions, but once you start to get used to it, you can see that it actually works, and you can build your own confidence with it. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. You help this person. They were going to go to the doctor, arthritis or cancer, and their whole life is different now. They come to you, oh, thank you. I'm so glad. I'm so happy for you in my life. And they tell you how God sent you to them and all this shit. And, they blah, 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 blah. And as soon as you say something they don't like, they going to act like God ain't seen you in their life last week. All of a sudden, God ain't seen you in their life this week. You know what I mean? I guess you work part-time for God and part-time for the devil, because maybe you clocked in with the devil this week. They gonna say fuck you because that ain't what they wanted to hear. You know what I'm saying? It's a sickness, man. I don't know how to deal with it. I really don't know what to do. I tell you, this is therapy for me as well. Doing this type of content, sharing these experiences with you is therapy for me too, because people come and talk to me about shit and then they don't always know why, what, when, and where, but sometimes some things they say is helpful, because this is why I just be like, I'd be like, get rid of people because I don't like the feeling all the time, but I do it because I need to learn it so I can help others in the future that will appreciate it. So it's kind of like a weird ass double-edged sword, like one of them damned if you do, damned if you don't. If I just sit there and act like I don't know shit and let you die from cancer or pumping too much iron in your blood, I'll be, what kind of quote unquote, not that I do titles, but what kind of friend would I be doing that shit? And if I try to tell you this will make your life better, it's you're hating on them or you're why you think you know it all and all this bullshit and gaslighting shit instead of just saying fucking thank you. Like, damn, say thank you. Tell the motherfucker thank you, because you was getting ready to pay the doctor and suck the doctor's dick, but when the neighbor helps you out, I don't mean literally, so I mean just be like dick riding them for, oh, the Dr. Petty said this, that, and the other, da. You need all right, so anyway, I was talking to someone I was helping out with other shit, and they were saying how they were gonna go and get an iron injection, and my empathic ass was like, all this shit flashed through my eyes. I actually saw the little clusters of iron floating through their body, not like becoming part of their body, just literally floating through the body, just. And I was, it was a real quick vision. It was like, whoa, no, you don't need to do that. Hold on, no. And then I started running back all the shit that I learned about arthritis, and I was telling them about that and how I left that study with, I'm pretty sure it's the same thing that's happening in the brain, that's causing like Parkinson's and shit like that, right? But I didn't go that far. So I stopped everything and was like, all right, hold on. Let me get on, me. I can't help myself because now I need to know. So I started doing the research because like somebody's life depends on it, right? I'm out here trying to help people that don't give a fuck about me, right? That's how we do. We just helping everybody. No hard feelings at the end of the day. So they were talking about how, the doctors told them that that it's a recessive, that, you know, they don't have the gene for iron or whatever. And I was like, well, now this is like something I came up with, and they were like, they sent me this shit here, and they were like, yeah, look at this, you know, your chromosomes and your DNA stuff say that if you got this and you don't got that, then you won't have this. And I was like, you know what? I said, I don't think that's the actual way to look at it. And if you got I said, what you have is that would be true, but I think the way they're saying it is wrong and how it's happening. Like, if you got I think everybody has both, because what they were trying to say was you can have the recessive gene, and if you get the recessive gene, then you'll have this disorder, right, or this disease if it's related to the gene. And I was like, that don't make sense, because the word recessive means that it's not the dominant one. So you can only activate, like, think of a Pez dispenser, right? Remember Pez back in the day? I don't know if they still have these joints, but back in the day they used to have the Pez dispenser. You pop up the head, or the magazine clip. You know, if you pull the clip out your gun and you got your bullets and you just go, psh, and the next one pops up. That's kind of like how I look at dominant and recessive genes. Like, they both there. Everybody has both of them. But the problem only comes up when there's an absence of, like, the dominant one is not there on top to be read first. You know what I mean? Like in your CD changer, back in the day when you had CD changers in the car, you had disc 1, disc 2. So if disc 1 wasn't there to be read, it would skip to disc 2 and pull that and start reading that one. So I was like, no, it's not that you get the recessive. I think, and this is totally my entertaining you with my thought process, okay? But the rest of the stuff I'm gonna show you, I got data to support. So and I was like, yeah, I really just think that you only have that issue if the dominant one for some reason is absent, not due to you getting. I think everybody has both. You know what I mean? Which is why they talking about all this junk DNA, and they claim they don't know what it is and what it does. So, all right, let's get into this here. All right. So, what it was, let me see here. Get my notes, make sure I'm telling you all the stuff I want you to know. Because you can start getting familiar with this on your own and start helping those people around you too, you know. And that's the purpose of this. And then also the byproduct of this is, like, just remember, when you help people, they're gonna be so grateful in the moment. Doesn't mean they're not gonna be the same people talking shit about you next week. That's the part that blows my mind, because if you're consistent, I don't understand how. I just don't get it. So yeah, okay, yeah. So I was excited. I was excited about that, the cancer and arthritis and all this stuff. So now I'm looking to help this person with the iron issue, because I'm looking like they ready. I felt like they were ready to do a lot of damage to themselves, because they listening to the wrong people and they glorifying the wrong people. So, all right, let's move forward with this. And this is one of the things I came up with here. Let me see if I'm at the top. So yeah, the NCBI resources from the PMC, U.S. National Library of Medicine, right? Because I started asking myself, I said, all right, so what hormones regulate iron in the blood? Because I was like, okay, if you're thinking that you're born with this, then maybe it's a hormone thing. I was trying to see what actually, because, you know, hormones control a lot of shit. So I was trying to see what hormones control the iron regulation, because if it's like an insulin type situation, you know, you got shit being released into the bloodstream that actually causes, behind the scene causes, you know, how you react to insulin and shit. So that's where I started the thought process with. Not that I spent 8 years in medical school or 10 years trying to be a doctor, but just because it makes sense from what I know before. So this is what came up. And let me see here. Yeah. Okay. So in the abstract, we'll just cover all this. If you got time, stay with me. If you running out of time, I mean, just come back to the video a little later. It'll be here. knock on wood. So iron is required for many biological processes, but it's also toxic in excess. Okay, thus body iron balance is maintained through sophisticated regulatory mechanisms. The lack of a regulatory iron excretory mechanism means that the body iron balance is controlled at the level of absorption from the diet. So iron absorption is regulated by the hepatic peptide hormone hepcidin, right? Hepcidin also controls iron release from cells that recycle or store iron. So now on the extreme end, you may be one of these people talking about you need an iron infusion. On the non-extreme end, you may be one of these people that's talking about I feel fatigued, I feel tired, I don't know why, etc., etc., etc. This may be something for you to look into because iron has a lot to do with that. But here, let's go. So hepcidin also controls iron release from cells that recycle or store iron, thus regulating plasma iron concentrations. Hepcidin exerts its effects through its receptor, the cellular iron exporter ferroportin. Okay, so important regulators of hepcidin and therefore of systemic iron homeostasis include plasma iron concentrations, body iron stores, infection and inflammation, and erythropoiesis. Okay, so disturbances, I tried. It's right here. All right, if you want to sound it out yourself. Okay, so disturbances in the regulation of hepcidin contribute to the pathogenesis of many iron disorders. Hepcidin deficiency causes iron overload in hereditary hemochromatosis, okay, and non-transfused B thalassemia, okay, thalassemia. Whereas overproduction of hepcidin is associated with iron-restricted anemias seen in patients with chronic kidney disease, chronic inflammatory diseases, some cancers, and inherited iron refractory iron deficiency anemia. Okay, so this review summarizes our current understanding of the molecular mechanisms and signaling pathways involved in the control of hepcidin synthesis in the liver, because the liver plays a key role in your iron situation. So a principal determinant of plasma hepcidin concentrations. All right. So what was key though? All right, hold on. Let me find it real quick. So iron content, oxygen transport. Okay, so let's just go through it all. It's in this next few paragraphs here. But iron is an essential trace metal involved in oxygen transport. Okay, so this is where the fatigue comes into play. All right. Now, think about the inorganic thing we were talking about earlier. So if you go and say, okay, I'm gonna get some iron pills, you gotta be careful, because if it's not a high quality or the right quality iron, your body's still gonna treat it as being inorganic. So now you're dumping all this iron into your body that it can't process. Where is it gonna get deposited at? I was thinking the brain, and this is how I proved it, or found the proof of that here when I started talking about iron. Okay, with this person. So, all right. So iron is an essential trace metal involved in oxygen transport, cellular metabolism, DNA synthesis, innate immunity, growth, and development. The ability of iron to cycle between two stable oxidation states, ferrous iron and ferric iron, equips iron to participate in a wide array of biochemical processes. The iron content in men and women ranges from 35 to 55 milligrams Fe per kilogram body weight. The majority of iron in the body is found in the erythroid, okay, compartment. Within heme and hemoglobin, and is used to deliver oxygen to every cell in the body, which is why if coenzyme Q10 is so good, because it actually helps cells, it helps more oxygen get into the cells so they can burn it. All right, so mature erythrocytes have a lifespan of 120 D. Don't ask me if that's days or something else, okay? But after which point, the senescent erythrocytes are phagocytis, right? Yeah, that right there. And by specialized macrophages that recycle iron. This recycling of iron provides most of the daily iron requirements in humans, all right, 20 to 25 milligrams. Most of it is used for hemoglobin synthesis in bone marrow. Typically, adults lose between 1 and 2 milligrams, mainly due to desquamation of epithelial cells or minor bleeding. The absorption of iron from the diet compensates for this basal iron loss. Absorption can increase several fold when iron needs to be increased, for example, after hemorrhage or during pregnancy. Now, ladies, when it says hemorrhage, I want you to think about, women, I want you to think about your monthly situation if you're still, active with that, okay? When you hear hemorrhage, I'm not telling you nothing you don't already know, but think of that as being the same as a hemorrhage. It doesn't have to be something internal, which is kind of like why you might crave steak during this period of time, or why you might want something with iron in it, to offset that. All right, so for example, after hemorrhage or during pregnancy. So iron stores of 400 to 1,000 milligrams in the adult liver represent another important compartment that is mobilized in times of accelerated iron usage. All right, so when iron losses chronically outpace iron intake, iron deficiency develops. Iron deficiency is the most common micronutrient deficiency in the world. Look at that again. Iron deficiency is the most common micronutrient deficiency in the world and is the most prevalent cause of anemia worldwide. Health consequences of insufficient here we're getting into it. Health consequences of insufficient iron availability include weakness and fatigue. All right. Decreased physical and cognitive performance. So your brain ain't right. Your thought process ain't right. Your muscles ain't working right. So adverse pregnancy outcomes, okay, ladies, families, including increased newborn and maternal mortality with severe iron deficiency anemia, delayed mental and motor development in children. So when they telling you, something's wrong with your sons or daughters, and they, you may need to look into this first, okay? And worse outcomes in patients with coexisting pathologic conditions, all right? Conversely, iron in excess. Now, here's where I got the proof I was looking for. Conversely, iron in excess is toxic to cells because it catalyzes the formation of reactive oxygen species, resulting in oxidative stress. Oxidative stress has been implicated in the pathogens of numerous human diseases, including cancer. So now you're getting cancer, like I said earlier, just because your oxygenation shit ain't right. Because as we read under cancer, it really thrives in deoxygenated areas of the body, which is why the coenzyme Q10 was a nice relief, because it gives your cells the ability to absorb the oxygen, especially in places where it was quote unquote deoxygenated, promoting an acidic environment versus the alkaline. Okay. So, where am I at here? Including cancer, we're right here. Cardiac disease, diabetes, and neurodegenerative neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. See, when you know yourself well enough, right? You know when you have a feeling of what's right and what's wrong. Then that's your emotional signal, right? To go and find out why or look into it further. Okay? Like I knew I was right because it made sense with everything else. It was just another point of deposit. But it took for me to be like, hold up, iron infusion, nah. And I saw the little shit floating around in their body, and it was like clumping together, but it wasn't getting absorbed into the body. Like, this is what goes on in my mind. Like, I'd be seeing shit. That's why I gotta stay away from people, because they be trying to sell you all these dreams and hopes and stuff, and you be seeing the truth in your mind, and then it just makes you view them totally different. You know what I'm saying? And so I just be by myself. But so check it out. Excess iron, and it's not to say this is the only, mineral or thing that you think you need in your body that in excess will get deposited in your brain and has the same effect. I'm going to add this in there like that. I'm not going to say it's only iron that does this. But you get the picture here that it causes all this other stuff. It causes cancer. So now you're eating all this red meat, right? And you're wondering why they're calling it a carcinogenic, because it's giving you an excess in iron for your entertainment purposes, and your body's trying to do some shit with it, and you're getting oxidative stress, and then you wind up getting cancer, what was this? Where did the list start again? It was up there. All right. Boom, 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 boom. Here you go. Right. Has been implemented in diseases including cancer, cardiac disease, diabetes, and neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So there is no known mechanism for the physiologic, right? You see it right here. Say it to yourself. Don't laugh at me. Laugh at me too, because I'm laughing at me too, because I know I ain't say that right. But clearance and excess iron from the body. Therefore, the body iron content is tightly regulated at the level of absorption from the diet. However, extracellular and plasma iron concentrations are determined by the net balance between cellular iron uptake, mainly in the erythropoietic marrow, and iron release from cells storing and recycling iron. So if you want to read more on that, you see you can screenshot that real quick and come and do your own research in the future. So then I came here, and this gave a little bit more information on it, right? Some of it was repetitive, so this is another good spot I would look at. It was Hindawi, HINDAWA, mediators of inflammation. And so I found all this, and right here it says iron is the maximum trace element in the body. As a transition metal, iron readily donates and accepts electrons to participate in biologic processes like oxygen transport, mitochondrial respiration, which is where that coenzyme Q10 comes into play, getting more oxygen to the cells, nucleic acid replication. So now when you're wondering, again, the cell's not dividing properly and all that shit, nucleic acid replication, intermediary xenobiotic metabolism, and cell signaling, right? Iron is also important. Iron is so important is that its deficiency is one of the major risk factors for disability and death worldwide. Right here. Which was something that was repeated. It's just being said in a more severe, more purposeful way here. So, and it is estimated to affect 2 billion people. On the other hand, excessive iron is harmful. It damages the liver and the brain, right? Causing oxidative stress to the nerve to cause neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's syndrome. Mutation in multiple iron regulated pathways led to hereditary iron overload diseases like hereditary hemochromatosis, and iron refractory iron deficiency anemia. Okay? So check this out. It's a lot of good information here. I mean, it basically just gives you a really in-depth view of what, when, where, and why that we just went over. And I'm scrolling through, so by all means, you can pause the video, you can read it at your leisure, or you can go to the website yourself. Okay? So, this is one of those situations where after you showcase to them, well, this is what you're going to do to yourself, right? They're like, oh, wow, thank you. I'm going to cancel my appointment. I'm going to do some more research first, which is, cool. I'm not saying absolutely don't do it, but I'm saying before you do that, you better try other shit, because they going to stick some shit up in you and you don't know what the fuck it's going to do floating around in your body. And I ain't talking about the other stuff that's, that's being monitored right now. I'm talking about iron, and I'm showing it from medical sources here, YouTube. So, but this is what I'm getting at. So when you're the type of person that you put in all this work behind the scenes and you come and help people and they're like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But as soon as you say something they don't like, what part of that do they skip over and say, well, damn, if this person's been right the last 9 times, let me at least ask them what makes them say this today. Why are they saying this to me now? What can I learn from this today? Instead of just because you don't like it, now you want to attack. But, God sent you last week, so to speak. That's all. If you guys could help me out with that. I just shared some great information with you. I hope that helps you. But the story it reminds me in the background is the same people that you helped save their lives. They talking shit about you now because you said something to them they didn't like. The same people that said God sent you last week and you're their angel, you're their guardian angel, is now calling you the devil. Because they don't understand that you're consistent, and the same reason they said God sent you the last 10 times should have been the same reason they at least listened or accepted what you were going to say this time. If you guys could help me out with that in the comments below and tell me what you think about this iron situation and what we went over with the cancer and the arthritis, that'd be great. Share this video with the people that you feel like it may add value to, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Pasha Paroh, YNS7. Thank you for tuning.